I think when you're reading tone from a motion picture, you're already taking a whole lot of things into account, not just one thing. Now, tone is one of those almost undefinable things. Everyone talks about it as, oh, it's the sound of instrumentation, or it's more about how your music blends with the visuals here, or no, a tone is a very character driven. So everyone has this different concept of what that term means, because it can mean a whole lot of things. and I don't really have my singular definition of it. I don't believe it is a term that has a singular meaning, especially when it comes to music. I think when you're reading tone from a motion picture, you're already taking a whole lot of things into account, not just one thing. And for me, finding tone is more like a checklist. So when I'm asking myself questions, okay, here's the movie, how am I going to find the heart of the sound, and what am I going to be looking for? Well, for me, it's like, great, let's consult the tone checklist. Is it Western? Is it outer space? Is it an outer space Western? Is it just some silly fusion that would tell you something really important about what the sound should be? Is it themed in some interesting fashion? Is it stylized in any particular way, like referencing other time periods or other cinematic? Is it an homage to other cinematic styles? What's the feel through the whole film? Now, I know that seems very undefinable, but there are some specifics you can look for. What are you feeling the whole time? If it's a suspense film, is anxiety a theme of the film? Are you feeling anxious? Do you need to constantly hold on to fear or anxiety? Or is there a constant feel of romance? Is it silly all the time? Are you feeling the sense of mystery for the entire film? Any general vibe that's the predominant feel in the movie, usually you can find it. Even though every film is a big mix, there's usually one leading vibe or feel that you're going to get from the movie. Texture is another big one I look for. Back to that door, or all the fabrications of the physical things you see on set, or the physical things you see in the landscape of a theme park even. Texture, what world are you in? Is it some post-apocalyptic hellscape? Like, what is that nuclear fallout world look like and feel like? If you were to physically run your fingers over and tactily feel everything you see on picture, what does that feel like? What is it? Is it a big, open, beautiful, full natural landscape? Well, that's a very different feel than our post-apocalyptic world. Is it a fiery world? Is it hot and scary? Or is it cold, icy, lonely, wintry, snowy, icy? All of these are just different textures that you can draw from picture to give yourself some musical direction. How about visual depth? Are you dealing in very tight, close, conversational, dramatic scenes for the bulk of the film, or is it very open, broad, wide visual landscapes? Hateful Eight or Brokeback Mountain kind of thing. Well, I guess Hateful Eight ends up becoming just a very small, condensed set. We have some big opening shots, but then most of the film takes place in one little cabin room. And so that one, it highly reduces the visual depth. Where a movie like Brokeback Mountain, just works with wide, large, open landscapes and slow, broad edits. And that leads me to the rhythm of the edit. Is it a movie with a lot of action where we're chopping through scenes at an accelerated rate, or is it an animation or a comedy where we tend to move a little more quickly? Or is it a little more, open, wide landscape, slow, dramatic, where we have incredible amounts of time between cuts? Well, that'll tell you a little bit about the tempo and the pacing of the music, and a little bit about the visual texture too. So, rhythm of the edit. What about coloring? Think about a movie that's dark, heavy, cold, sad, anxious, like Dolores Claiborne, Taylor Hackford's film. That movie is full of tension and really strange anxiety. And it's one of those films that has a lot of blue and gray caps over the lenses. So everything just looks weightier and depressed. Everything's just in shades of grays and blues. And it just really brings you down. And it's a heavy movie that needs to take you to that really difficult emotional place to condition you for some really difficult stuff you're going to see later in the film. Or maybe look at a Jean-Pierre Jeunet's movie, not Amelie, but how about A Very Long Engagement? So he's using really warm greens and yellows, heavy saturations. There's this wonderful warmth and texture to that movie, just using color as part of the theme. Time, place, and geography. Maybe it's a movie like To Kill a Mockingbird. It's set in poor rural American South, or maybe it's Lawrence of Arabia, and the music needs to acknowledge that particular time in that particular part of the world and sound like it to some extent. So for me, that's the checklist I tend to go through in my head every time I have to ask myself the big question of, here's the movie, what is the tone? If you'd like to learn more film scoring tips like these, sign up for free, and I promise you, these lessons will help you on your journey to becoming an accomplished film composer.